Hello everyone, welcome to Kroll's weekly threat intelligence briefing for the 26th of August 2025. My name is Ryan Hicks, and joining me this week is Mukesh Nagar and Ethan Athbury from the threat intelligence team. This week, we will be covering the PIPEMAGIC backdoor and Russian hacktivists targeting a Polish power plant for the second time this year. Mukesh is covering Godrat, targeting financial institutions, and also RINGREAPER, which is a Linux EDR bypassing framework. And lastly, Ethan will be talking through a new actor we track as KTA492, also known as Warlock ransomware. So to begin with PIPEMAGIC Backdoor, so Microsoft has released an in-depth technical analysis on PIPEMAGIC, which is a modular backdoor framework actively used by ransomware groups like Play. Microsoft notes that the malware has also been used by those who they track as Storm 2460. Now, this is a designation that Microsoft used for new and emerging threat clusters. Therefore, it's uncertain whether this alias also relates to Play or whether this is a separate kind of group using the backdoor. So certainly looks to be at least one, maybe more kind of groups using this. The backdoor itself previously been observed mimicking ChatGPT desktop application through both its file name and lure pop-up. So when opened, it kind of pops up with a blank ChatGPT looking window. It also exploits the Windows Common Log File System, which is CVE 2025-29824, and that was a 0-day vulnerability used to escalate privileges and gain persistent access. And that vulnerability was patched back in April's Patch Tuesday. So once embedded, PIPEMAGIC enables remote control, payload injection, and also encrypted communication through a range of custom name pipe systems, which is where the kind of name comes from. And one of the naming conventions for generating name pipes is shown on the screen there in bold, where the percentage D part of it is dynamically replaced by the ID of the current process where the payload is running in. As common with backdoor malware, once C2 command and control connection is established, it collects a range of system information, including its own executable name and ID, current working directory, and host information. And the network traffic for that connection is shown in the screenshot at the bottom there. You see quite a standout domain that was used in recent campaigns. The data collected is then passed back to the C2, and then a response is provided back to the backdoor, and that contains a bunch of commands for the next actions that the backdoor needs to carry out. It has a kind of a range of modules that it can use, so the operator can then kind of pick and choose what they want to do now that persistence has been set up. IOCs for PIPEMAGIC, as well as kind of the surrounding activity and various reports that have been published lately, have all been ingested into the Kroll IOC feed. Next up, a Polish hydro plant has been targeted by Russian hacktivists for a second time this year. A video was released showing the group targeting the same facility for the second time since May. This time disrupting its control systems and turbines during operation. And the latest report follows several attacks on Polish industrial control systems in recent months, including affecting water plants, sewage treatment plants, and swimming pools. And earlier this year, CERT Polska published recommendations for improving operational technology security to help organizations mitigate these potential threats. And the Minister of Digital Affairs also recently issued a statement highlighting this increased in cyber attacks targeting industrial control systems in the country. Mukesh.
A new malware campaign targeting financial institutes, particularly trading and brokerage firms, has been observed using a previously unknown remote access Trojan. This rat has now been identified by Kaspersky as Godrat. The attack delivers malicious screensaver files, so a .scr file, disguised as a financial document through Skype messages, and uses steganography to hide shellcode within image files that download the malware from a C2 server. The campaign has been active since at least September 2024, and most recently observed in August 2025. The attacks have been targeting countries including Hong Kong, the UAE, Lebanon, Malaysia, and Jordan. So GodRat is built on the GhostRat codebase, which employs a plugin-based system in order to steal sensitive information and deliver additional malware, such as async rat. GodRat also appears to be linked to the Chinese threat actor KTA 451, which we are internally tracking, but it's also widely known as APT41 or WinIt. The malware operates by sideloading a malicious DLL from a self-extracting screensaver file, extracting the shellcode from images, and then communicating with a C2 server to collect system data and antivirus information. Kaspersky researchers further observed GodRat's complete source code was uploaded to VirusTotal in mid-2024, highlighting how legacy malware like GhostRat can be repurposed and remain effective against modern targets. What we recommend is organizations to implement advanced email and messaging filters to scan for suspicious file types such as .scrs, .exe, .pif, or other executable formats. Look into segmentating networks so that critical financial systems are isolated from general purpose machines or messaging apps, as well as conducting user training regarding social engineering attacks, as malware are often disguised as financial documents or internal communication. Moving on to the next story. So, a new post-exploitation framework, RINGREAPER, has been found attempting to evade endpoint detection and response systems by utilizing the kernel asynchronous I/O interface, referred to as IO_erring. This allows the malware to substitute the commonly monitored standard I/O functions, such as read, write, receive, send, and connect, with an IO_erring alternative. Picker Security, who initially documented the malware, does not really detail the infection method, distribution method, or indicators of compromise in its write-up. However, we at Kroll did identify a GitHub repository that does seem closely matching the description provided by Picker Security, including the name and use of IO_erring. Based on the GitHub repository, RINGREAPER has the following features. It allows for file uploads and downloads, the ability to process manipulation, gather user information, manipulate of terminal sessions, lust network connections, as well as search for misconfigured SUIDs, set binaries suitable for privilege escalation, as well as the ability to remove itself from the device. So this is a new post-exploitation framework written by a red team operator with the initial commit only a month ago. So far, this malware has only been observed by Picker Security, and the research does not disclose if they have found this out in the wild or via GitHub. Until EDR solution monitoring of IO_erring functions are integrated into their tools, we recommend a defense in-depth approach is necessary. This includes maintaining Linux servers, patch levels, as well as monitoring logins and a parameter protection to help avoid the malware getting onto a host in the initial place. That's all from me.
Thanks, Prakash. So to finish off, hand over to Ethan.
Thanks, Ryan. Warlock first surfaced in June 2025, advertised on a Russian cybercrime forum as a notable ransomware as a service operation. It is linked to Storm 2603, a suspected China-based threat actor, and has claimed responsibility for attacks previously attributed to Black Basta. The group's primary attack vector is exploiting unpatched Microsoft SharePoint servers through the tool shell exploit chain, which leverages critical zero-day vulnerabilities like CVE 2025 49706, 49704, 53770, and 53771. Once a foothold is established, attackers deploy web shells such as spinstall0.aspx and employ sophisticated post-exploitation techniques. Warlock's tactics involve extensive reconnaissance, credentials theft using tools like Mimikatz, often extracting plain text passwords from memory and dumping SAM and security registry hives, lateral movement through tools like PSExec and Impacket, or by modifying group policy objectives, GPOs, to achieve privilege escalation and deploy the ransomware across infected networks. A critical step in their attack chain is disabling endpoint protections, including Microsoft Defender, often by deploying malicious drivers like Google API util64.sys to terminate security processes. Before encryption, Warlock performs data exfiltration using the legitimate file synchronization tool rclone, often disguised as trendsecurity.exe, sending stolen data to external cloud storage like Proton Drive. The ransomware payload encrypts files with X2AnyLock extension and is believed to be customized derivative of the leaked Lockbit 3.0 builder. Warlock employs a double extortion tactics, publishing exfiltrated data on leak sites to pressure victims into payment. The impact has been significant, with over 400 SharePoint servers compromised across more than 148 organizations globally. Victims include U.S. federal agencies such as National Nuclear Security Administration, Department of Education, and Department of Health and Human Services. Recently, it has claimed high-profile victims like Orange Belgian subsidiary. Government-related ransomware incidents in 2025 are estimated to carry an average demand of $2.5 million. To mitigate this threat, organizations must urgently apply all security updates for SharePoint 2016, 2019, and Subscription Edition. It's crucial to enable advanced security features like AMSI, deploy Microsoft Defender antivirus with Defender for Endpoint, and rotate ASP.NET machine keys while restarting IIS on all servers. Beyond patching, proactive measures include continuous monitoring for suspicious GPO modifications, unusual service installations, and abnormal command executions. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, Ethan. And that is all we have time for this week. If you have any questions, please contact us at cti@kroll.com. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.